A very good morning to all my dear students. Let's start our day with a beautiful quote. The biggest communication problem is we don't listen to understand, we listen to reply. Let's start our next chapter of history, that is Ashoka, the emperor who gave up war. Before starting the chapter, let's see what all is there in this chapter. First, we will learn about who were the Mauryas. Next, the process of imperial rule and expansion under Mauryas. Next point, Ashoka, one of the greatest rulers of our country. And next and last is main features of Mauryan administration. First, let me explain who were Mauryans. Magda was one of the powerful kingdoms under the rule of Bimbisara. Magda continued to hold the position of supremacy under the reign of Shishunaga and Nanda dynasties. Finally, ruling Nanda king was overthrown by Chandragupta Maurya. Then, the dynasty founded by Chandragupta Maurya is known as Mauryan dynasty. He established the first empire of India, the Mauryan Empire, in 1321 BC. Now, children, you must have understood who were Mauryans. Now, children, let me tell you first that a very big kingdom is known as an empire. Okay? Now, you must have seen the lines on the notes, coins, which have a very long story. They were carved in stone and placed on top of massive stone pillar at Sarnath. Four lions sitting back to back and facing the four directions are carved on the top of this pillar. This place was known as the Lion Capital, which is now the national emblem of India. Ashoka was one of the greatest rulers known to history, and on his instructions, inscriptions were inscribed on pillars as well as on rock surfaces. Before we find out what was written in these inscriptions, let us see why this kingdom was called an empire. Now, children, the empire that Ashoka ruled was founded by his grandfather, who was Chandragupta Maurya. He ruled more than 2300 years ago. Chandragupta was supported by a wise man named Chanakya or Kutliya. Wise men means the people who help the king in maintaining the kingdom. Many of Chanakya's ideas were written down in a book called the Artha Shastra. Now, children, let's see what is dynasty. When members of the same family become the rulers one after the another, the family is often called a dynasty. The Mauryas were a dynasty with three important rulers: Chandragupta, his son Bindusara, and Bindusara's son Ashoka. Now, children, let's see where the Mauryan Empire was situated. There were several cities in the empire marked with black dots on the map. These included the capital Patliputra, Taxila, and Ujjain. Taxila was a gateway to the northwest, including Central Asia, while Ujjain lay on the route from north to south India. These cities were known as the capital cities or the important cities of the Mauryan Empire. It is said that merchants, officials, and craft persons probably lived in these cities. In other areas, there were villages of farmers and herders. In some areas, such as central India, there were forests where people gathered forest produce and hunted animals for food. People in different parts of the empire spoke different languages. They probably ate different kinds of food and wore different kinds of clothes as well. Next is very important topic. How are empires different from kingdoms? Let's see. Emperors need more resources than kings because empires are larger than kingdoms and need to be protected by big armies. So, also they need a large number of officials to collect taxes. So, children, the Mauryan Empire was very large. So, to administrate that empire, different parts were ruled differently. The area around Patliputra was under the direct control of the emperor. This meant that officials were appointed to collect taxes from farmers, herders, craftspersons, and traders who lived in villages and towns in the area. And children, officials also used to punish the people, those who disobeyed the ruler's orders. Many of these officials were given salaries. Messengers went to and fro, and spies kept a watch on the officials. Now, who are spies? Spies are the secret person employed by the rulers to tell the information to the king. But on the top, the emperor supervised them all with the help of members of the royal family and senior ministers. There were other areas or provinces. Each of these were ruled from a provincial capital such as Taxila or Ujjain. Although there was some amount of control from Patliputra and royal princesses were often sent as governors, local customs and rules were probably followed. Now, children, as these areas were very vast, so these modern people, they used to control the roads and rivers which were coming in between these areas. As roads and rivers were important for transport and to collect whatever resources were available as tax and tribute. This means the modern emperor officials used to collect tax and tributes from the people, those who were passing on from these roads and rivers. For example, the Arthashastra tell us that the northwest was important for blankets and South India for its gold and precious stones. It is possible that these resources were collected as tributes. Now, children, let's see what is a tribute. Unlike taxes, which were collected on a regular basis, tribute was collected as and when it was possible from people who gave a variety of things more or less willingly. There were also the forested regions. People living in these areas were more or less independent, but may have been expected to provide elephants, timber, honey, and wax to modern officials. Now let's move on to this box, the emperor and the capital city. Megasthenes was an ambassador who was sent to the court of Chandragupta by the Greek ruler of West Asia named Seleucus Nicator. Megasthenes wrote an account about what he saw. So, children, Megasthenes was sent by the Greek ruler of West Asia to go through the modern empire, and he was the person who wrote everything what he saw there. Rest of the things, children, you can read on your own. Let's move on to the next topic, which is Ashoka, a unique ruler. The most famous modern ruler was Ashoka. He was the first ruler who tried to take his message to the people through inscriptions. Most of Ashoka's inscriptions were in Prakrit and were written in Brahmi script. So, children, Ashoka's inscriptions were written in Prakrit language and the script was known as Brahmi script. Next is very important topic, which is Ashoka's war in Kalinga. Kalinga is the ancient name of coastal Orissa. Ashoka fought a war to conquer Kalinga. However, he was so horrified when he saw the violence and bloodshed that he decided not to fight any more wars. He is the only king in the history of the world who gave up conquest after winning a war. Now, children, Ashoka attacked Kalinga and won it after a bitter struggle. About 1.5 lakh people were captured. More than 1 lakh people were killed. Ashoka Empire now spread from Himalayas in the north to Mysore in the south, and from Brahmaputra in the east to the Hindu Kush in the northwest. But, children, Ashoka's victory in the Kalinga war did not bring any joy and satisfaction to him. The great destruction, death, and human sufferings in the war filled his heart with sorrow. This war became a turning point in Ashoka's life. He decided not to fight any more wars but to win the hearts of people with love. He adopted Buddhism. From now onwards, he devoted his life to the moral and material welfare of the people. He adopted the policy of winning people over through Dharma in place of conquering them through force. Now children, let's move on to next topic, which is what was Ashoka's Dharma. Dharma is a Prakrit word for Sanskrit term dharma. So children, now Ashoka was influenced by the Buddhist religion. So he started preaching Buddhist teachings. Ashoka felt that, like a father, the king has also a duty to instruct his subjects. His idea of Dharma was based on human values and a code of conduct inspired by the noble teachings of Buddha. Now, children, there were many problems in the empire that Ashoka wanted to solve by introducing Dharma. What was the problems? People in empire followed different religions. This sometimes led to conflicts. Okay. Next problem was large number of animals were sacrificed in Vedic rituals. Next was slaves and servants were ill treated by their masters, and there were quarrels in families and amongst neighbors. So, children, Ashoka felt it was his duty to solve these problems. So, he appointed officials known as the Dhamma Mahamata who went from place to place teaching people about Dhamma. Beside this, Ashoka got his messages inscribed on rocks and pillars, instructing his officials to read his messages to those who could not read it themselves. Ashoka also sent his messengers to spread ideas about Dharma to other countries also, such as Syria, Egypt, Greece, and Sri Lanka. He built roads, dug wells, and built rest houses. Besides, he arranged for medical treatment for both human beings and animals. Now, children, these are some of the messages of Ashoka which was written or inscribed on the pillars. You can go through these paragraphs and you can also go through this box. Thank you, children. I hope you all have understood the chapter.